Needle through the window. Edna Hockett, who runs a small grocery shop with her husband, Harold. From the moment we meet her, she's irritable, nagging Harold about his habits, and generally unhappy with her life. She's not outwardly cruel, but she's bitter and restless, and her cranky energy makes her stand out in the film. She's also unlucky enough to live right on the edge of Jason Voorhees' hunting grounds, which makes her an easy target. Her death isn't loud or theatrical, it's cold and quiet. After hearing strange noises outside, Edna locks herself inside, believing she's safe within her home. But Jason isn't the type to smash his way through like a blunt force monster. Instead, he creeps up and uses his own environment against her. He drives a knitting needle straight through the back of her head, killing her instantly. She's the victim of the sharpest crochet session in history, pulling out intestines. Jim Miller is the kid who accidentally brings Jason back from the dead. On his parents' boat with his girlfriend Susie, Jim tries to be the tough guy, telling scary stories about Jason Voorhees and even pulling a hockey mask prank. The problem is that the boat's anchor has hit an underwater power line, shocking Jason's corpse back to life. Talk about bad timing. Jason climbs aboard, grabs a spear gun, and fires at Susie, missing intentionally to scare her off. While Susie runs in terror, Jim freezes, the smirk wiped clean off his face. Jason drives the spear into him, tearing out his insides in one of the film's nastiest gut punches. Literally, his intestines pulled out. What an awful way to go out. By the way, I would appreciate it if you hit that hype button below. It's a new way to directly support the channel. Thanks. Anyways. Split in half. In Friday the 13th Part 6, one of the most canon-see moments comes when Sheriff Garris decides to face Jason head-on. Unlike many characters who run, hide, or panic, Garris shows the kind of courage you'd expect from a seasoned fighter. Determined to protect the children at the camp and the town itself, he doesn't hesitate to put himself directly in Jason's path. At first, it feels like the fight might be more evenly matched. After all, Garris is armed and experienced, but Jason is operating on a whole different level, where sheer brute strength replaces tactics or training. The confrontation is short, brutal, and merciless. Jason seizes Garris with both hands, lifts him with ease, and then bends him backward in a grotesque motion. The sheriff's spine cracks loudly, a sound that makes you flinch. In just seconds, everything Garris stood for was shattered, along with his bones. It won't be wrong to say Garris really reached his breaking point. Crushing skull? Officer Pappas is part of Sheriff Garris's squad in Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason lives, and like the rest of the lawmen in Forest Green, Officer Pappas thought a revolver was going to stop someone who was unkillable. When Jason is resurrected by Tommy Jarvis's mistake, he's not just back, he's stronger and completely bulletproof. Pappas empties his gun into him, probably expecting at least something to happen. Instead, Jason doesn't even flinch. In a split second, Jason grabs his head with both hands and starts squeezing, bones crunching, skull cracking, until Pappas's head caves under pressure. Deadly uppercut. In Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, the young boxer, Julius, shows more guts than most. Instead of running, he decides to take Jason on head-to-head. On a rooftop in New York, he unleashes everything he has, throwing punch after punch at Jason's chest and mask. But Jason doesn't flinch. He just stands there like a brick wall in a hockey mask. After dozens of blows, Julius is out of air. With no strength left, he puts his fists down and tells Jason to take his best shot.
Your best shot.
Well, that was a big mistake. Jason answers with one swing, a single crushing uppercut that knocks Julius's head clean off his shoulders. His head rolls right into a dumpster below. Machete to face. In Friday the 13th, Part 2, one of the most hard to unsee and unforgettable deaths belongs to Mark, a young man in a wheelchair. He thought he was safe, just enjoying a quiet moment. But with Jason, peace never lasts long. Out of nowhere, Jason appears behind him and drives his machete straight into Mark's face. As shocking as that already is, what follows is even more disturbing. The force sends Mark, still in his wheelchair, tumbling helplessly down a long flight of stairs. The camera lingers as his body bounces step by step, the chair rattling violently out of control. Liquid nitrogen. In Jason X, the franchise takes us somewhere completely different, in outer space. Jason's body, kept in cryogenic stasis, ends up aboard a futuristic spaceship. But the second he's thawed out, the killing starts again. One of the victims is Adrian, a student trying to examine Jason's body in a high-tech lab. She thinks she's safe, surrounded by advanced equipment, but Jason doesn't need anything other than raw brutality. Without a weapon, he grabs her and plunges her face into a tank of liquid nitrogen. The result is instant and shocking. Adrian's face freezes solid in seconds. But Jason doesn't stop there. He pulls her frozen head out of the tank and smashes it against the counter. Rotating head 360 degrees, Axel thought the worst part of working the night shift at the morgue was just trying to stay awake while watching late-night TV reruns. Turns out, the real danger wasn't boredom, it was Jason Voorhees lurking. This scene is infamous because it perfectly captures Jason's methodical cruelty, using not one, but two execution styles in a single kill. The irony is that Axel's entire job revolves around handling corpses, but he never expected to become the newest addition to the collection. The moment builds quietly. As Axel is glued to the tiny television, Jason approaches with surgical precision, starting the assault with a hacksaw across Axel's throat. The cut is slow, deliberate, and horrifyingly intimate. Flesh and muscle give way to bone as Axel's consciousness fades in pure agony. But Jason isn't finished. He grabs Axel's head and twists it completely around 180 degrees, leaving him staring backward. Folding body in half, Trey found out the hard way that sometimes the bed isn't where you rest. It's where Jason tucks you in, permanently. In Freddy vs. Jason, this brutal kill takes place in the most unlikely of places, a bedroom. Trey is just relaxing when Jason decides to make the mattress part of the murder weapon. Jason begins the attack with savage efficiency, plunging his blade into Trey again and again. Each stab is deliberate, leaving Trey gasping as his body racks with pain. But this isn't one of Jason's quick kills. Instead, he drags it out, every new stab adding another layer of torment. And then comes the finale.
The hell are you doing?
Jason unleashes his superhuman strength to fold Trey's body in half, snapping bones and crushing joints in unusual directions. Ice pick to the head, Alice L. Hardy will always be remembered as the original heroine of Friday the 13th, the lone survivor who defeated Pamela Voorhees and lived to tell the tale. But in Friday the 13th, Part 2, Jason makes sure her survival story doesn't last long. After the massacre at Crystal Lake, Alice is trying to move on, living alone, haunted but determined to rebuild some sense of peace. Unfortunately for her, Jason isn't about to let the past stay buried. Having survived his supposed drowning, Jason carries his mother's decapitated head as a trophy and reminder of the life Alice took from him. In one of the franchise's most chilling setups, he sneaks into Alice's home and leaves Pamela's rotting head inside her refrigerator. When Alice casually opens the fridge door, expecting maybe milk or leftovers, she's greeted instead by her worst nightmare staring back at her. Her scream barely fills the room before Jason makes his move. Silent and merciless, he drives an ice pick straight into her head. The strike is fast, sharp, and deeply personal. With that single blow, Jason erases the last loose end from the original massacre. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks. See you on the next one.